allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vecchio. Councilman McCarthy.
Here.
Councilman Wareham.
Here.
Councilman Creighton.
Here.
Councilman Malloy.
Here.
Sitting as a Board of Water Commissioners, the Board of Water Commissioners approve the following minutes for the Thursday, September 16th meeting: a release of funds from an escrow account and a transfer from an account SW1 1990.
Councilman Malloy.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
We reconvened as a town board. Town board to consider entry into certain real property located at 15th August Crescent. Mr. Attorney, are these the two you're referring to?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, with respect to the two matters that are on for public hearing, we've gotten substantial compliance from both of the property owners. With respect to 15 Crescent, the Auckland Federal Bank has taken the property back, and they're working on, right now we're just dealing with the rear of the property. The front has been cleaned up. And with respect to 244 4th Street, the property owner is Kevin Johnston. I've actually hired a company to do cleanup. But I'd like to, with the board's permission, you could adjourn these to the next scheduled town board meeting so we can make sure that we keep tab on these, make sure that we know that if it's not done by the next meeting, we will go forward with the hearing and enter onto the property to finish up the work. But I believe both property owners are going to comply with the town's request.
I'll move to adjourn both those matters.
Second.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilman Malloy.
Yes.
And for purposes of notice to the public, can we have the date that that next meeting will be scheduled?
Day and night,
It'll be a day meeting,
November 5th.
November 5th.
November 5th. Okay, thank you.
Okay, on the correspondence, parade walk permit for the Smithtown Rotary, second reading. Anybody wish to be heard in favor or against that meeting, event? Move on. Clerk to authorize, town board to authorize the clerk to advertise for the public hearing to be held on October 8th, 2013 at 2 p.m. to consider the Year 40 Community Development Program.
Councilman Malloy.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes, town board to authorize the clerk to advertise for public hearing to be held at the senior center to consider the 2014 preliminary budget on the 24th day of October, 2013 at 7 p.m.
Councilman Malloy.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Town board to award the following request for proposals for the opening on a date indicated, RFP 13079 for grocery vendors for the town's school-age child care program.
You missed something on the first page.
There's one on the front. Oh, I'm sorry. Town board to award the following bids: aluminum sign blanks to Vulcan and aluminum, and an installation of energy-efficient street lighting to Wellsback Electric Corp. of Long Island.
Councilman Malloy.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Did we vote that one? Grocery vendors?
No, let's do it. On number 2. Councilman Malloy.
Yes.
Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes. Town board to approve the minutes of Tuesday, September 10, 2013. Town clerk to issue a parade walk permit for the Smithtown Rotary. Termination of an intermunicipal agreement with Islip Resource Recovery Agency regarding the disposal of construction and demolition debris. The modification of the Community Development Program Budget Year 38 as per the attached agenda item. Sale of surplus municipal services facility equipment to Repent Shipping. And resolution number 755 or 785 of the town board meeting of September 10th as per the agenda item.
Councilman Malloy.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes, town board, after due study and deliberation of the subject matter, to issue a secret determination, negative declaration determined of non-significant. An environmental impact statement is not necessary in the following matters. Application for site plan approval by 22RK LLC and change of zone petition 2013-01 by North Fork Management and Maintenance.
Councilman Malloy.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes. Town board to issue a written consistency determination pursuant to Chapter 5151 of the Code that the application number 6 of 2012 is consistent with the LWRP.
Councilman,
move to table that?
Second.
I second.
okay, Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilman Malloy.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes. Town board to authorize the acceptance of the following donations as per the names and amounts in the agenda item.
Councilman Malloy.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Item number 7, the town board to authorize the controller to execute the following as per 7A through L, and they're all transfers as per the printed agenda.
Councilman Malloy.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Item number 8, the town board to authorize the supervisor to execute the following in a form approved by the town attorney. A, amendment of the agreement with the Civil Service Employees Association, full-time unit. B, amendment with the agreement with Civil Service Employees Association, full-time unit. C, renewal application for storage tanks, environmental. D, specialized agreement with Amy Herbert Ippolito to provide classes for the Senior Citizens Department.
I'll move to table E.
Second, and specialized agreement memorandum of understanding between Suffolk County Office of the Aging and G, municipal cooperative agreement with St. James Fire Department for radio communication facilities.
You want to take it and
Okay,
vote on the
yeah,
table?
E we're going to vote on right now, and then we'll vote the rest. So Supervisor Vecchio
yes.
tabled it, and McCarthy
Yes.
seconded. So Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilman Malloy.
Yes.
And on the rest, Councilman Malloy.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor.
Yes.
Number 9, the town board to approve the settlement of following matters for recommendation of the town attorney as per 9A and B for $3,000 and $3,150.13.
Councilman Malloy.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Under personnel, number 10, town board to approve the following personnel matters per 10A, B, and C, volunteer services, a reinstatement, and a part-time appointment.
Councilman Malloy.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes. Okay, we'll sit now as a site plan review board, and we'll approve the minutes of September 26th, and conditionally approve a site plan number 13-16 for LNK Arcade Drive for parking area expansion.
Councilman Malloy.
Yes.
Councilman Creighton.
Yes.
Councilman Wareham.
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy.
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Yes. Those wishing to be heard, Mr. Richard Marcellaro.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Supervisor and Town Board members. My name is Richard Marcellaro. I've been a resident of Smithtown for more than 22 years. At this morning's Town Board work session, an issue was discussed regarding AEDs. That's the automated external defibrillator, which is a portable electronic device that automatically diagnoses the potential life-threatening cardiac arrhythmias, and the town's position on maintaining them at parks and/or recreational centers. Understandably, there will be more discussion to be held on the placement, implementation, possible vandalism, and/or theft of these life-saving devices, as well as the town's other liability issues. However, I would like to propose some ideas and suggestions as to how to deal with these concerns. First, any group or organization who seeks a town permit to utilize these premises must provide their own AEDs to be staffed by their own certified AED personnel. As part of the application process, the organization will indicate their acceptance of this requirement. The application is then reviewed and approved by Public Safety Department and/or other jurisdictional entities. Second, the town will maintain an appropriate number of AEDs for those organizations who are permitted to utilize town facilities, and loan the AED to the organization's representative, whose responsibility will be to staff the AED and return it back to the town in proper working order at the conclusion of their event or events. Third, the organization will pay an appropriate rental fee. Fourth, if an organization is unable to pay a rental fee, the town will provide the AED and staff its operations during noted timeframes. I believe this is an important issue for our residents and the many groups and organizations who use these fine parks and recreational facilities. I hope that the town board will act on these concerns in a timely manner. Thank you.
Laura Schaefer.
Good afternoon. My name is Laura Schaefer. I know you all know me. I live at 233 Old Comac Road. I'd like to ask you a question why you have not shut Toby Carlson down when on the other side of KPE on the residential land was shut down. He digs all night long. We residents, we follow the rules. I brought for you your own Article 11 that states in your Smithtown, New York codes, lawful nonconforming uses shall not be changed to any use except to a permitted or special exception use in conformity with this ordinance unless the Board of Zoning Appeal approves a variance for such change. That's C. D. Any lawful nonconforming use that is abandoned for more than 12 consecutive months shall not be resumed. He has dug out, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 more acres. It goes on all night long. I'm asking, this is directed to Mr. Creighton. I'd like to know why, Mr. Creighton, you keep voting to keep him open when you know that it's the residents, it's harming the quality of their life. I'd like to know why.
I am not satisfied that Mr. Carlson is doing anything wrong.
Well, here's your own town codes. So legally, you're up there and you're supposed to follow the law, right? Now, you were a police officer. You know what's legal and you know what's illegal. I brought an article where Toby Carlson admits, right in the Times Beacon, Carlson acknowledges that he doesn't comply with town codes and has asked the town for help to come into compliance. So he's admitting what he's doing is illegal. So here's your town codes. I'd like to give it to the board so maybe you can read it, your own town codes. I mean, these are your town codes. Why are you not following them, sir?
Mrs. Schaefer, may I answer that question?
Of course.
That question was raised by me some months ago at a town board work session.
I saw it on TV, sir.
And as I recall, and he will correct me if I'm wrong, town attorney indicated that that matter had been in court, and the judge, in effect, said, well, he's applied for a site plan or zone change, which then, I assume, stops us from enforcing the law, Mr. Attorney? It doesn't...
You're talking about a conditional discharge.
Yes,
In general
right.
terms, not specifically to this case, conditional discharge, person complies with the terms of conditional discharge, you don't issue additional summonses to them if they're complying. And the town, provision of town law also, when someone files applications, whether it's to the town board or to the Board of Zoning Appeals, they file an application, there's the stay of enforcement proceedings against those entities while the application's pending.
And I also understand that that matter comes to a head in November? Was there a release, if you will, till November?
That's
when
2 years. The summonses were issued to him 2 years ago. 2 years. I complained December 21st, 2011. Here we're going to December 2013. I was told in your office, Mr. Vecchio, with Mr. Derubius here, that you took Carlson to court, and, you know, it didn't work. You took him to court. Nobody ever pursued it. This is from my own personal attorney. It sat dormant. You did absolutely nothing on this.
That's not necessarily true.
Okay, well, I'd like to give this for you.
Sure.
For you
Please.
and for you. This is from my own personal attorney, that you did nothing on the case. You never followed through. Nobody ever went to court.
that's not
I racked my brain
Where'd the
why
town attorney go?
you don't care what the residents want.
Well,
Okay,
you-
they don't want him there. So none of us residents have to pay any
Mrs. Schaefer,
more
would you,
permits.
wait,
We don't have to do anything. We want a reduction in our taxes
Okay.
for the inconvenience, and that's the end of it.
Supervisor, as you know, I have to remove myself from this matter, but Martin Simon, Central District Court, is familiar with the site, so if you have specific questions for Martin, he'd be happy to answer them.
well, the question is, why is Mr. Carlson continuing to operate illegally in a zone that's zoned residentially? And that question was raised at a work session. I raised it myself, and I believe we were informed, and don't hold me to each word verbatim, that since it had been in the court, and the defense was that I've applied for a zone change, and I think a site plan, and the judge
2
then...
years ago, Mr. Vecchio.
Well, no,
Do you know we have no birds left?
Allow him
The
to...
trees are all dying.
Allow the
I-
attorney to... Can you expound on what I said?
Yes, I can, Supervisor. Ms. Schaefer, essentially, what happened here was a conditional discharge was entered into with Mr. Carlson's entity. as I think
Why did you
know.
do that?
Talk into the mic.
Why? For what reason? You gave him a property maintenance on that summons? Why? Tell me why, please.
Ms. Schaefer, it was done because we needed to get Mr. Carlson to do something to get that property into compliance with the town code.
Okay, but that was 2 years ago, sir, and he
well-
still hasn't done anything.
Honey,
And if you see all the
take the mic
papers
out.
that he put in, he's asking to do things that are not
Yeah.
to be done on that property. So, you know, we're going around in a circle here, and the only people that are getting harmed are the residents.
What happened here was we entered into a conditional discharge, I believe in March of this year, and Mr. Carlson's entities pleaded guilty to property maintenance violations. From their perspective, they didn't want to plead guilty to site plan violations because they were coming to this town, to the different boards, to get their necessary approvals. And what really mattered was the language of the conditional discharge had Mr. Carlson's entities having, it required him to meet certain dates and certain deadlines to try and legalize this tremendous property. From what I understand, at this point, he has put in applications, I believe, everywhere he had to, and November 19th, that's the drop-dead date, is quickly approaching. I believe he's in compliance right now. If he doesn't do,
He's in
if,
compliance with what, sir?
With the
He's on
conditional-
residential land. He has dug up all these extra acres. I don't understand. What's he in compliance with?
it's, as Mr. Zolo said before, once you make application to a board for certain relief from the town, be it the BZA or this town board for a zone change, the town cannot, as a matter of practice, go back to court and try and further prosecute that defendant.
So in
We've
other
seen
words,
that in
us
district court.
residents have to sue our town in order to get our town to do their job.
No,
That-
Mrs. Schaefer,
Yeah,
you know,
November 19th coming up.
you have to be fair here.
No, but I'm saying.
I don't
sir,
agree,
you know,
I don't agree with the way the court process works.
I know,
that
but
somebody
the
can
thing is
continue
that
with it.
There's 5 of you voting.
No,
and the 3,
listen to me.
Creighton, Wertheimer, and Malloy,
They
are
went-
voting against it, you know.
The town went to court with Mr. Carlson. At some point, he says to the judge, I will attempt to legalize it by applying for site plan and a zone change.
2 years ago.
No, it was in
March is when
March
he
of this year.
took the
But
plea.
And the
official
judge,
summons was
I
in
don't agree
December
with what the judge does.
Of
So
2011.
the date now is November 19th.
Yeah, and
And
you
we'll
know-
find out what happens then.
I just found out that Judge Pitts just happens to be the same judge that's doing our class action suit. Coincidence? You know what I mean? So, you have to do something. The land is all dug up, there are no birds, the trees are dead, people in Spring Meadow have loads of cancer, and we're concerned.
I
We'll
would like
find
to-
out on November 19th what the court says.
And just for clarification purposes, I'd like to point out to the town board that the judge on this matter is Judge C. Stephen Hackling in 4th District Court, and it's my understanding that there's a full-time DEC monitor at that site. that Mr. Carlson pays for.
I had a DC guy come to my house and admit to me that he called Carlson and told him to clean up the smell.
Ms.
before he
Schaefer,
got
may
there.
I just suggest to you, and I know you're angry, let's wait till November 19th and see what the court does on this matter?
Okay, sir, but he keeps digging up more land all night long.
Well, he shouldn't be doing that.
Well, I understand that, and we have pictures of trucks bringing in grass clippings, and it goes on all night long. You can't even sleep.
Mr. Supervisor, as a matter of course, this is meeting being recorded. The Department of Public Safety will, I'm sure, this site or any of the sites, if someone raises concerns about illegal activity, it'll be looked at, it'll be reviewed and reported to. So to the extent, whether it's this site or any of this site, and Ms. Schaefer's mentioned this, Public Safety is watching this video, this town board meeting, they'll look into it.
Okay, but Mr. Zola, I think you even handling any part of this would be
No,
a
I'm just talking
conflict
as a
of
general matter.
interest,
Well,
okay?
okay.
Because your partner's with
Well,
Vincent Walker.
what
This whole
he's
thing is
saying now,
ridiculous.
Mrs. Schaefer, is that the public safety folks in the other room watching this recording will now implement an action, an observation from today on.
Come on, you know how many phone calls went to public safety? I mean, is this a
But now
joke?
well, I don't know that,
I mean,
neither does anyone here.
we have to hire an attorney to file an injunction to shut him down because our own town won't follow their own town codes.
Well-
I mean, I'm a resident. My permit, my lock wasn't on my gate. I had to pay $250 fine and get taken to court. And he's down there now for 20 years, or how many years, doing things he's not supposed to be doing. I mean, there's an entrance off of Sunken Meadow Parkway. All I hear is crash, boom, accidents because of trucks that's pulling in and out of there. Yesterday, there was a water truck putting water on Sunken Meadow Parkway because of all the dirt that was dropped.
Well,
I mean, what is this?
well, not only is he hearing you, I would suggest that you meet with him and outline all those violations you're observing.
Who is it, Angus?
Public safety, I don't know which public safety
Oh my
officer.
God, I've driven
is,
around with Angus. They all know. Everybody here knows what's going on here. Everybody knows.
Can we make an appointment for you with Mr. John Valentine?
Who is he, sir?
He's the head of public safety.
John, I thought it was Joe Nawadi. I know them all.
Look, I'm not going, look, Mrs. Schaefer, please, I'm not
Okay.
going to be repetitive.
Okay.
Sometime in March, you said you watched the meeting. I raised the
I know
question
you
about
did. I
why
appreciate that.
the violations continued. We were informed by the town attorney that a consent decree or a conditional discharge was made where the applicant, Mr. Carlson, will be applying for a zone change and a site plan. The judge, in effect, stays all the actions. But now you're saying in between there, they're continuing to do it. So by the fact that Mr. Zola just,
And
the fact Mr.
I
Zola
have
said-
loads of videos, pictures, bunch
Okay,
of the neighbors
well-
have given me a bunch of stuff, so if that would be helpful.
Yes.
it will be, and I'm going to ask you to
Okay, I
make an
have to ask
appointment.
our personal attorney if I
Mr.
can.
Valentine is hearing this. I'll have him call you, or you call him, okay?
Okay,
Thank you, Mrs. Schaefer.
thank you.
I did not read a read-on resolution. It's a town board to authorize the establishment of a workplace violence committee and further authorize the appointment of members of such committee as per the attached list.
Councilman Malloy,
Yes.
Councilman Creighton,
Yes,
Councilman Wareham,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio.
Rosalind Palazzolo,
Mike, I have lived in Smithtown since 1961, before the Lake Grove Mall was built. And at that time, Smithtown had a lot of little stores. It was only 52,000 people in the town at that time. But when I moved here, it was advertised in the papers, I moved into Echo Woods, that Hop Hog was the crossroads of Suffolk County. And when I came here, over its path was like dogwoods were on my car. And I says, oh boy, I moved into the country. Little did I know that I moved in and my neighbor was going to be the Hop Hog Industrial Park. And Mr. Koppelman showed us all the plans for that park. And the town was very good when they put up their buffer zones, and it didn't bother the residents who lived there, except that there was a lot of traffic. Now, we benefited from the industrial park with our school district taxes, and I read in the papers that that park right now supposedly pays 70% of the town's taxes that they collect. True or not, I don't know.
No.
But to put in a five-story five-floor buildings in that industrial park would give us so much more traffic than what we have today, and we're saturated now with Betts Highway, Jericho Turnpike, and 347. If there's 55,000 businesses there, then there's 55,000 cars. And if they want to make these buildings to go up to 5 stories, and they want to make 2 of the floors for parking, what we're going to have, 100,000 cars coming out of the industrial park. I'm against that. The people who live in that community are against that. And I would like to know, if you're going to do it in the Hop Hog Industrial Park, are you going to do it in Kings Park too? Are you going to make every industrial park be able to say, well, you got 5 stories in Hop Hog, how about letting us do it in Kings Park or Comac? So I think that you're opening up a can of worms if you allow 5 stories to go, and just think of the traffic that's going to come in. We don't go to shop in town because of the car
Okay,
situation.
Rosalind,
So-
may I just speak to you for a second?
Yes,
There will be a public hearing when the town decides that matter,
uh-huh.
and that will be sometime, I believe, in January. You should come and be heard, but if I can allay any fears for you, those buildings that are going to go up, those 2 stories, are going to be mostly warehousing. So it's not intended to generate a lot of traffic.
Then why do they need 2 stories to park their cars, 2
Well,
floors
I don't know that
to
the
park
parking
their
car-
cars?
I
Well,
don't think so.
That's what I read in the papers.
Well, you know, my mother told me, never believe what you read in the paper.
Well, I have to believe what I
Okay.
read in the
So,
papers.
Rosalind, you and I are friends. You should be there at that meeting. Could be sometimes in January, where you'll get the full outline, and then you can make your objection.
The problem with that is, people who live in Kings Park, Comac, St. James, don't care what you do in the Hop Hog Industrial Park, because it doesn't affect
Okay.
their livelihood or their driving. So let's make the people of Hop Hog make the decision, not the whole town.
Okay, thank you. Rosemarie Boyle, Byrne, I'm sorry.
Pat, I was hoping for November, but if you wanted January, I was
Okay.
hoping for January.
My son, Seamus Byrne, was a decorated war veteran. Although he did not lose his life on the battlefields of Afghanistan, where he was attacked by a suicide bomber and lost many of his brothers in that same attack, my son Seamus lost his life just yards from where we sit here today in the town of Smithtown. He was awarded the Purple Heart for his valor in Afghanistan. He was a brave soldier assigned to the Fighting 69th, the Irish Brigade. He fought hard for freedoms that Americans have. His family erected a memorial on the site where he lost his life. I bless myself every time I pass this site. My husband and I change the memorial seasonally and always with an American flag attached to it. Not too long after his return from battle, Seamus, his wife, and 2 children bought a home here in Smithtown. But sadly, just 11 months after he bought his home, he lost his life here in Smithtown after celebrating his 33rd birthday with his wife, his brother, and friends. Life goes on, but it has not in any way been easy for us because we love him and we miss him every day. The memorial erected in his honor is now gone. We cannot get any answers from any governmental officials as to why or where the memorial has been removed to. In my heart, I know it was not vandalism. All we ask is that his belongings be returned to his family. He was a loving son, husband, father, brother, and uncle. He was an American hero. He was honored by the President of the United States and Congressman Steve Israel. And a flag was flown over the United States Capitol the day after he was killed at the request of Honorable Steve Israel for wounds that he received in service in Afghanistan. And his family, we just want to know, we had this memorial erected where he was killed, and we had things there that his brothers put there, his friends put there, and everything is just gone. I just want to know where these things are, if that's possible to get them back.
Well, are you looking at me?
I'm looking at
Well, okay.
all
Well,
of you.
I'm not so sure I know the answer to your question, at least I don't.
He was killed on the
No,
corner.
I know that. You and I have met, right?
Yes,
Okay, where was the memorial?
right where he was killed,
Where-
on the
where?
corner of Lawrence and Main Street.
I must tell you, I've never seen it. I had never seen it.
It was there for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Was it like stuffed animals and
No,
stuff?
you can't,
No,
no,
that
please,
little girl was
please.
killed.
I think,
Spot.
if I-
Hers is still there.
could I
His has
interject,
been
Beth?
taken down.
I think what Mrs. Byrne is saying is that she's very disillusioned that this disappeared, his Marine cap,
Yeah,
His
And-
military cap.
and it is kind of interesting, I suppose is the word, that it was removed from the same area
Where he was killed.
where the young lady was killed. And thank God her memorial has not been disturbed. But his was taken, absolutely taken down
The
and
whole
just
thing was
disappeared.
taken down.
And it wasn't vandalism, because if it was vandalism, they would have taken
They would
everything.
have taken,
yeah.
So there's a real problem. We've
And,
tried to address
there
that.
was
We
a-
don't have any answers yet.
There was important things there that
Sure, understand.
my husband and I were there. Every season, we would change it.
Yeah,
And we always put an American flag, to go with
One
whatever.
of the
But
things that was
His military
there,
caps were there, and,
one of the things that were there was his military cap.
yeah.
And we've put out the word trying to get that back. So far, we have had no response. We're trying to get it back, but we have no idea who took it.
I guess there's no place for.
I'm sorry,
what to
I
do.
don't know,
It's
I don't
very
know what
disheartening,
it is.
because not just things that we put there, his brothers and his good friends would stop and put, some kind of a memoriam there. And,
Mrs. Byrne, were you
because
told,
he was an American soldier who was honored by the President of the United States, and I believe something should be in Smithtown in his name.
were you told by anybody who might have done it?
I was told, should I say why I was told?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I was told that we were at Vision for Long Island luncheon, and we had our pictures taken with Mr. Creighton. And we were told that the memorial came down that week.
What does that mean?
That's what we were told, because we had our picture taken with Mr. Creighton, and the memorial was taken down that week. That's what the family was told. I don't know.
We will, Mrs. Byrne, we'll continue to try to find out, but really, we have had no luck whatsoever up to this point.
Okay, well, you'll be in touch with us if,
If anything at all comes up, we certainly will, any of us will,
okay.
okay?
No one else wishes to be heard, I'll move to close the meeting.
Second.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilman Wareham?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
And Councilman Malloy?
Yes.